The image she projected was perfect. Trinity Poague, a reigning Georgia beauty queen, celebrated, admired, and crowned Miss Donalsonville. But behind the bright lights of the stage, a darkness was brewing, a fatal, simmering resentment that ended the life of an innocent toddler. The question that haunts this case is not who committed the crime, but why a college student, admired by her community, would brutally kill her boyfriend's 18-month-old son. We're following the trail of deception, inconsistent stories, and a shocking digital confession that sealed her fate.
The setting was the quiet campus of Georgia Southwestern State University. Trinity Poague was a sophomore there, and her relationship with boyfriend Julian Williams had progressed to the point where she was often watching his young son, 18-month-old Romeo Angeles, in Williams' dorm room. In January 2024, Julian Williams stepped out for a simple chore, picking up a pizza. He left his son, Romeo, in the care of his girlfriend, Trinity Poague. It was a routine moment, but the tranquility was about to shatter.
While he was gone, Williams received a frantic text message from Poague. The message was chillingly brief. His son was not breathing. Julian Williams immediately dropped everything and rushed back to the dorm. He found little Romeo unresponsive and, in a panic, drove the toddler straight to the emergency room. Despite the desperate attempts by doctors to stabilize the 18-month-old for transport to a children's hospital in Atlanta, Romeo never regained stability. He died shortly after. Authorities immediately launched an investigation into the unexplained death of the child. The first phase focused on the person who was the last to see him alive, Trinity Poague. She was a student, a local celebrity, and the girlfriend of the distraught father. But what she told investigators simply did not match the unfolding tragedy.
Poague offered multiple accounts of what happened, first claiming the child had been eating chips, then dramatically changing her story to say he had simply fallen off the bed. But the child's body held a terrible secret that a simple fall could never explain. What did medical science reveal about Romeo Angeles's final moments? We'll tell you after the break.
A week after the tragedy, Trinity Poague was arrested and charged with murder, aggravated battery, and child cruelty. The community was reeling. How could a young woman who had earned the title of Miss Donalsonville and competed in the National Peanut Festival pageant be accused of such a monstrous crime? The answer, prosecutors revealed during her trial, lay in profound, destructive jealousy.
Poague's resentment, they argued, was entirely aimed at 18-month-old Romeo, not his father. According to the prosecution, Poague was deeply unhappy that Williams paid more attention to his son than to her. Her true desire, they claimed, was to establish her own family with Williams, and that meant removing the previous one. She did not want to assume the role of a stepmother to Romeo. This motive was not hidden. It was reportedly expressed in her own words. Hours before Romeo's death, Poague allegedly sent a chilling text message to her roommate, expressing her utter contempt for the child. "I can't stand being around JD anymore. He hates me, and I hate him," she allegedly wrote. Prosecutor Lewis Lamb told the jurors the motive was simple and brutal. She wanted to have a child or children with Julian Williams, but not that child. But while motive is one thing, proof of murder requires hard evidence, and the physical evidence uncovered by the medical examiner would prove that the tragedy inside the dorm room was not an accident. It was a calculated act of violence. Up next, the devastating medical reality that shattered Trinity Poague's defense. Despite Poague's repeated attempts to frame the death as an accident, a fall from a bed, or choking on a snack, the doctor's findings were horrifyingly clear. The medical exam found definitively that Romeo Angeles suffered widespread injuries, specifically blunt force trauma, to both the head and torso. The impact was so severe that doctors concluded the child's brain was rendered useless. Emergency room physician Dr. Michael Bussman testified that Poague's account of the child's injuries was utterly inconsistent with the medical evidence. He explained that the fluid coming from the toddler's nose and severe head swelling pointed directly to a direct blow, not a minor fall.
The prosecution argued that this evidence, the fatal trauma, the inconsistent lies, and the stated jealousy painted a clear picture of intentional violence. Poague had been given the opportunity to tell the truth, yet she chose to weave a web of deceit, changing her story from chips to a fall. But the true intent of the accused remained unconfirmed, despite the damning physical proof. That is, until investigators uncovered a digital trail, a desperate paper trail of searches made by Trinity Poague while standing in the very hospital where Romeo Angeles was fighting for his life. Her behavior in the immediate aftermath of the tragedy was far more incriminating than any text message or inconsistent account. The deepest secrets often hide in plain sight, recorded not on paper but in digital history. As 18-month-old Romeo Angeles lay dying from devastating blunt force trauma, the former beauty queen Trinity Poague was at the hospital, and she was searching. Investigators revealed the terrifying list of search queries allegedly run by Poague while she was supposedly supporting her boyfriend and awaiting word on his son's condition. These searches removed all doubt about her knowledge and intent. Poague's alleged queries included, "How do you get a brain bleed?" But that was not all. Trying to gauge the severity or perhaps the detectability of the crime, she also searched, "How can a depressed skull fracture go unnoticed?" This was the smoking gun. This digital footprint provided compelling proof that Poague was not only aware of the massive trauma the child had sustained, but was actively seeking information on how the life-threatening injuries, inconsistent with a mere fall, could be concealed from medical professionals. This was not the behavior of a frightened babysitter. It was the calculated maneuver of a suspect attempting to cover her tracks. The evidence, the motive of jealousy and resentment, the definitive blunt force trauma, and the incriminating digital searches led to Trinity Poague's conviction. She was found guilty on multiple counts, including 2 counts of felony murder. In December 2025, Poague appeared in court for her sentencing. Though she appeared stoic for much of the hearing, she grew visibly emotional upon hearing the jury's verdict. Judge William James Sizemore Jr. delivered the sentence, confirming the maximum penalty. Trinity Poague was sentenced to life in prison, plus an additional 20 years to run concurrently. The father of the victim, Julian Williams, had previously expressed his anguish and outrage when Poague was initially released on a $75,000 bond shortly after her arrest. At that time, Williams stated, "All we want is justice for my son. Letting her out and being free is not right. She took an innocent 1-year-old's life." With the life sentence handed down, justice for 18-month-old Romeo Angeles was finally served. The story serves as a stark reminder that sometimes the most devastating crimes are born not from external conflicts, but from an internal, consuming envy. A former beauty queen trading her crown for a life behind bars. The tragic truth of the case of Trinity Poague is that a desperate desire to build a new future led her to violently erase a vulnerable past, proving the ultimate cost of profound, murderous jealousy.